Hey guys, welcome back to Carstonian Mean. So they were going to talk about the Monday night matchup between the Chiefs and the Ravens that happened yesterday. And this one honestly was a surprise. I was expecting a really high scoring, really close game between these. Like I was thinking like both teams over 40 points, kind of like a 2018 Rams Chiefs kind of game that would possibly break, a scoring record or something. But what we got instead was it was pretty high scoring, okay, but it wasn't as close and it wasn't as high scoring. It was a 34-20 Chiefs win, if you didn't know. So I did not expect a team to win by, I didn't think it'd be more than 5 points. I expected both teams to get near 40, more than 50, up in that range, like the 35 to 50 range was where I thought both of these teams would be, and they'd be very close. It was a 37-20 loss for the Ravens. I mean, like Lamar Jackson said, the Chiefs are kind of the Ravens' kryptonite. Lamar Jackson is 0-3 against them, and against any other team, he's only lost once, and that's that. He's only lost once against teams that aren't the Chiefs, and that's it. It's pretty sad. And then you look at Lamar Jackson's stats. He almost had as many rushing yards as he did passing yards. He only had 97 yards and 1 touchdown. That is the fewest amount of yards that he has ever had. His previous fewest was 105. So this is his first game getting less than 100 yards, and this is by far his worst game. Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball, 385 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chiefs completely took off. They're looking like the best team in football right now, looking absolutely amazing. Really, it was pretty sad. Lamar Jackson was their leading rusher, and I know 34-20 isn't like a blowout or anything, but the Ravens got a touchdown from a kick return. And that's kind of sad in the fact that, that really, I know it takes skill, and I know running back a kick return is one of the hardest things you can do in football, but still, you can think Lamar Jackson, at least he led them to 20 points against the really tough Chiefs defense. Lamar Jackson led them to 13, okay? If that kick return hadn't gone the distance and it had been just tackled, like if he had got a touchback or down at the 30 or before that, probably would be a 34-13 game that we were looking back on, which would be definitely a blowout. So right now the Ravens, they didn't look too good last week. They're hoping that it doesn't carry over into the Washington game next week, which, while is definitely a very winnable game, and a game that they definitely should win, it is not a instant win. The Washington football team, they have shown promise. Of course, they're not really good or anything. Dwayne Haskins looked terrible, but still, if this carries over, which again it probably won't, because we've seen them play terribly against the Chiefs before. This is probably just a little fluke here. And I'm sure that eventually Lamar Jackson will get back into his groove. Probably next week against Washington. Another thing you can say is that he had an off week, and now he's got a pretty easy game next week against Washington to kind of recuperate. So, Harrison Butker. The only bad thing you can really say about the Chiefs is that Harrison Butker missed a field goal. So really, it should have been 37-13 is what I'm saying. So yeah, kind of a blowout by the Chiefs here, which no one expected, except for maybe Chiefs fans. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Not much to talk about here. If this carries over, if the Ravens somehow manage to lose to Washington next week, we'll have a lot to talk about the Ravens. That would be catastrophic for them. But right now, that's really all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We do this kind of stuff every single week. We do weekly recaps, Monday night recaps, Thursday night recaps, predictions on Thursdays. We do power rankings. We do all kinds of stuff coming out every single day unless I am busy or doing something. And if that's an exception, then I'll probably tweet something about it. Speaking of Twitter, in my description you'll find links to my Twitter and Instagram. I'd be very happy if you followed those. I'm going to start tweeting during games. I couldn't this week. I was out of town when football games are on, so I couldn't tweet during them. I'm gonna try to do that. I'd be very grateful if you follow those. Like this video if you like it, and I hope to see you in the next one. In fact, I know I will, or else.